Hello, hello, and indeed hello. How the devil are you? So this week I will mostly be talking about the history of belief. Now belief is really interesting as a sort of abstract thing, because it kind of governs our lives in a way, but belief alone also makes an ass out of you and me occasionally.
Oh man, this banana looks tasty. I totally believe it won't kill me.
This is really interesting stuff, but unfortunately we have to start with Descartes. This is René Descartes. He was an awesome mathematician banging around in the 1600s, but he's more commonly known as the father of modern philosophy, which is to say he ruined modern philosophy for the next 300 years. How did he do this? Well, he wrote a book, Meditations on First Philosophy, which translated into modern speak is thinking about hippie shit. At the beginning of the Meditations, Descartes has this weird proto-existential crisis. He's like, whoa, I can't trust my senses at all. Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe a giant demon is coming and controlling my thoughts. Because we've all had those thoughts, haven't we? But if Descartes was a creepy man on a bus, he'd be a little bit like this.
So, where are you going?
Oh, just into town.
But how do you know?
I've got a goddamn ticket, leave me alone.
But how do you know it's going into town? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know?
But a little later on, Descartes goes, aha! No evil demon can trick me into thinking that I'm thinking. I think, therefore I am. Oh! And he spends the rest of the Meditations trying to prove that he exists. He considers beliefs to be things in this really mindy realm, with an argument that is holier than the sacred Gorgonzola. So his arguments are really, really abysmal, but what he did for the first time in, ever, is provide an epistemic anchor. He tries to take his beliefs and ground them.
But how do you know the CIA hasn't constructed all this, lulling you into a false sense of security?
But the evidence says that I'm going into town. The giant squid of anger has now earned an epistemic anchor. Well done.
Hey, what does this mean for you? You sitting at your computer watching a 21-year-old man babble at you about Descartes. For the first time with the Meditations, evidence came into play at some kind of basic level. For once, grand ideas about the world weren't just a web of belief, but epistemic anchored. Like, for example, monarchs in Europe had gone, God put me here, and everybody else was like, oh, okay.
But it was no coincidence that the 1600s was the time where people called bullshit on this idea and many others that were considered sacred. Belief alone was not enough.
In other words, I think, therefore I am, moved belief from a pre-modern state into a modern state. Travel a few hundred years down the line, and these epistemic anchors are everywhere. The scientific process is bolstered and strengthened by all these scientists regarding belief as a hypothesis. Knowledge and facts became the overall aim for most scientists. Behaviourist psychologists even went so far as to, take belief out of it completely, regarding it as this flimsy mental thing that couldn't be quantified, we couldn't put numbers to it, rejecting belief entirely in favour of behaviour. Scientific community has long since regarded these behaviour psychologists as a little bit loopy. You can always tell when behaviour psychologists are at a play or something because...
Oh my, I've killed my father. I'm a bad man. Bloody heck. Darling, did you hear that confession? I bloody did! Arrest that man!
And with the help of a few awesome people, like Emil Durkheim and Carl Pearson, beliefs could find their epistemic anchors more easily and more efficiently. Say, for example, I was really worried that we were going to be human slaves in an insect nation. I could look at a graph.
Like this one.
And see that the risk of being human slaves in an insect nation is quite negligible, and should probably not invest £5,000 into fly swatters. This form of epistemic anchor, anchoring our beliefs, is called statistics. Oh, it's time for the open letter? An open letter to stats. Dear statistics, I wish you weren't so hard. I mean, you're not that hard really, you're pretty fun sometimes. I get you, just about, and with some difficulty, but a lot of people don't regard you as an epistemic anchor, which really sucks. Instead, statistics, a lot of people think that you're out there to fool people or mislead people, which really isn't the case. I still believe in you, because you've proved time and time again to be awesome. That's wishes, Joe and Collier. And I'm totally not joking about this. The crime rate in England and Wales has gone down every year since 1996, but 70% of the British people still think it's rising. It's because of this lack of faith in statistics and other, reasony sort of things that some theorists have argued that we're going into a new period in our history called post-modernity, which I regard as a stinking pile of metaphysics, but, there you go. Postmodernists think that we've moved past scientific inquiry, and they reject this whole epistemic anchor thing completely. Ways of explaining the world held in more general terms like science and religion, and what they call meta-narratives are really bloody stupid. They're illusions that we have forgotten are illusions. You can kind of see their attitude to belief in everyday life. For example, turn on the news and you'll see, tell us what you think about thing in the news. And I can text in and go, thing in the news was really, really, really bad. That belief isn't trying to be knowledge. That belief isn't looking for an epistemic anchor to kind of ground it. That belief is just a belief wandering about in a whole field of many other beliefs. Though I would argue, in most cases, we still have a modern view on belief, from food safety to government stats to the possibility of my ex getting back with me. They all used an epistemic anchor of some sort. From numbers to graphs, the occasional, I will never, ever, 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 ever get back with you. If this is the kind of stuff that you like, thank you for watching. If this is the kind of stuff that you like, please tell me in the comments, hey, I want more of this stuff. If you think this is really whack, tell me in the comments, I really don't want more of any of this stuff. You're boring me, Joan. If you see anything else on my channel that you like, go, hey, do more of that.